Hello everybody, Tammy here. Welcome to my bookshelf. Today's book is Matilda's Secret by Sandra Goldbacher. This is a little bit of a different book for me. It is actually, I think it's supposed to be a kid's book or a young adult book. I was kind of surprised though. Okay. So a little background information about the book. This book comes with a doll if you buy the doll. The doll right now is no longer available for the most part, but a few years back there was a group of dolls called A Girl for All Time. And these dolls were sort of similar to American Girl dolls in that they were historically based, but they were based on characters from England versus America. And the company was a US-based company. It is no longer in business, unfortunately, even though the company made some really beautiful dolls, in my opinion. And some of the dolls came with a book, an actual little novel about the character that the doll was. And this particular character, Matilda, I believe was their first one. She's supposed to be from the Tudor period, and she's 13 years old. So the dolls are supposed to be around that age, around 13, where again, American Girl dolls, in my opinion, are more like around maybe 10 or 11, 12 at the most, right? So this is definitely a little bit different than American Girls, but they have the same similar vibe. So I've had this book for a while because yes, I do have a collection of dolls, and part of them include 5 dolls from this company, A Girl for All Time. And I have the Matilda doll. And I just kept this book, and just kind of didn't ever read it. And finally, now that I have more time for reading, I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and pick this up. And I remember picking it up a few years back, basically when I first got the doll, and thinking, this seems kind of odd for a child to read, because even though a lot of adults collect dolls like these, including myself, they're obviously typically designed initially for children. And this book, I would say, has some adult content. For example, there's a point where, no big surprise, people go to the tower because Matilda is the fictional cousin of Catherine Howard. And she befriends Catherine Howard. She becomes her lady-in-waiting when Catherine Howard becomes a queen for a couple of years. And as we all know, things did not work out well for Catherine at the end, as well as numerous men and other people connected to her, not just all men. And this is discussed in there about torture in the tower, and there's also some information discussed about Catherine having to sleep with the king, who by this time was quite, in their term, elderly, in his 50s, where Catherine is 15, I believe, when she marries him. So she's kind of grossed out by him because he's an old fat man with a nasty leg with a disgusting sore that smells and everything. So yeah, it did not really seem like a child's book. However, I really did end up enjoying this read, and it surprised me. I thought, well, I'm just going to read it because it's not very long. There's a few illustrations in it, nothing super noteworthy, just like some kind of, it's almost like a collage-y kind of thing, but there aren't a lot of that. It's like a diary of Matilda. So, some pages only have, a few words, like this. And so it's very easy read. And of course, I knew the ending because I know basic information about Henry VIII. And I liked it though. I was like, what's going to happen to Matilda? She's going to get, at the end there, what's going to happen to this girl? So no spoilers. I recommend it. I don't know if it's something that's easy to find these days because, like I said, they no longer make the dolls. But probably if you're really dying to read it, you could pick it up through a library, interlibrary loan. I would bet some libraries have this book. If you've read anything like this before, or this particular title, let me know in the comments. As usual, thanks for stopping by to see what's on my bookshelf today. Bye-bye.